It's the weekend, a morning in early June. It's quiet in the garden, that wonderful moment when you go outside and everything seems perfect. You walk over to your vegetable beds and you see both. The plants have grown a lot this week, and the weeds between the plants have too. The leaves of the weeds are almost bigger than your lettuce, your radishes, your peas. You make a face. Damn, not again. So many weeds have grown over the past week. Many days of work, starting seedlings, caring for them, hauling water, hoping. It annoys you again and again, weeding again like every weekend, a fight you seemingly can't win. Spraying against weeds? Good for the garden center, which sells you new bottles, granules, fabrics, and sprays every spring. But bad for your health. I do it differently. I go to the bike shop in town and he gives me cardboard. By now, he is my best garden helper. And in this video, I'll show you how I use it so my weekends are free again. But let's start from the beginning. There are people who never played this game of weeding and spraying. Never, because they learned something different. Watch with me how others and I win the war against weeds. Our journey goes to the Amish. For generations, the Amish in Pennsylvania have grown vegetables, without modern herbicides, without expensive weed killers. And yet, their beds often look cleaner than many modern gardens where money is spent every year on weed control. So, the real question is not, how do we kill weeds? The real question is, why do we make them grow in the first place? Because that's exactly where the thinking mistake begins. And at the end of this video, I'll show you a method that's so cheap and simple it almost seems ridiculous, a flattened piece of cardboard. But once you understand why this cardboard works, you'll never look at weeds the same way again. Because the secret is not above the ground, it's underneath. Thousands of seeds are sleeping in your soil, from plants that stood there last year, or 5 years ago, or in. And many of these seeds are waiting for only two things, moisture and light. Now comes the part that hurts. Every time you dig, hoe, or till your soil in spring, you bring exactly those seeds to the surface. You bring them from the darkness into the light and give them what they need. And then, 2 weeks later, you wonder why your bed explodes. You don't have a weed problem. You woke it up. That's the first reason traditional gardeners work differently. They don't turn their soil over every year. They build on top. Compost on the surface, mulch on the surface, organic material on the surface. Don't destroy everything. Don't turn everything over. Don't start from zero every spring. Because every time you open the soil, you also open the archive. And this archive is full of seeds that are just waiting for their moment. So the first rule is, disturb the soil as little as possible. Not because it sounds romantic, but because it's strategic. You keep the seeds down below, in the dark, where they can't germinate. But that alone isn't enough. Because nature hates bare soil. If you leave soil open, it will be covered. If not by you, then by weeds. That's the second big mistake of modern gardens. They look neat, clean rows, dark soil, wide spaces, everything nice and open. To people, that looks clean. To nature, it's an invitation. The Amish do the opposite. They don't leave the soil empty. They fill it. With mulch, with compost, with densely planted crops, with living ground covers. The idea is brutally simple. If weeds need light, take away the light. And this is exactly where the system begins. After the harvest, they don't simply leave beds bare over the winter. They sow cover crops. One of the strongest is winter rye. And this rye does something crucial. It suppresses weeds biologically, not with a bottle, but as a plant. Winter rye protects the soil, takes up empty space, and leaves behind a mat in spring that blocks light and holds moisture. In fall, you grow a plant that becomes a natural weed break in spring. Here's how it works. After the last harvest, you sow winter rye on empty beds. It grows in fall, survives the winter, and is ready in spring. Before you plant your main crop, you cut it close to the ground. Don't till it in. Leave it there. That's exactly what matters. The cut stalks become the blanket, an organic protective layer through which you set your young plants. Tomatoes, squash, cabbage, peppers, you open only small spots and plant into them. The rest stays covered, and every piece of covered soil is a piece of soil that doesn't belong to the weeds. But it gets even more refined. The Amish use a technique that works almost like a trap. You prepare a bed as if you were about to sow directly, level it, water it, wait. And then, at first, you do nothing. After a few days, the first weeds germinate. That's exactly what you want. You lure them out, you let them believe their time has come. And then, before they get strong, you scrape them off flat. Don't hoe deeply. Don't bring up new seeds again. Only disturb the top layer. This is called a false seedbed. Or more simply, you let the weeds come first and then take away their future. A plant you remove when it's young does not produce thousands of seeds. No next generation. No new deposit into the seed bank. And if you do this twice before the actual sowing, you reduce the pressure for the whole season. This is not a fight with force. This is a trick. And that's exactly why it's so effective. Because this trick shows you where the biggest difference lies. Not in the bed, but between the rows. Many modern gardens have wide, bare paths. Nice and neat. Nice and open. Nice and vulnerable. Traditional gardens work more densely. Between tall crops, low-growing clover can grow. White clover, for example, stays relatively low, covers the soil, attracts pollinators, and fixes nitrogen. It takes space and light away from the weeds. That's the point. Weeds don't win because they are stronger. They win because we give them room. When tomatoes, squash, beans, clover, mulch, and compost cover the soil, hardly anything remains where weeds can get started. The bed isn't kept clean by constantly destroying. It stays clean because it is occupied. That's the shift in thinking. Don't kill, prevent, don't react, anticipate. And now comes the method that ties everything together. Cardboard. A simple, brown, unbleached piece of cardboard. Take delivery boxes. Remove tape and plastic. Lay them flat on paths or between plants. Overlap the edges so no light gets through. Then cover them with straw, leaves, compost, or wood chips. Done. It sounds too simple. And that's exactly why it's underestimated. Cardboard blocks light completely. The seeds underneath don't get a signal to germinate. At the same time, moisture stays in the soil. Earthworms love the damp zone underneath. The cardboard slowly breaks down and becomes part of the soil. Compare that with plastic landscape fabric. Plastic costs money. Plastic breaks down. Weeds eventually grow into it from above. The soil underneath often becomes compacted and lifeless. Cardboard costs nothing. It works for one season. It feeds soil life. And disappears when its job is done. That is the difference between a product and a system. A product has to be replaced. A system improves itself. And now you understand why this knowledge is inconvenient. When a gardener understands that weed control doesn't come from a bottle, but from soil cover, compost, cover crops, dense planting, and cardboard, they buy less. Sprays, fabrics, granules. That is not some wild theory. That is simple economics. A method that works for free doesn't get a big advertising campaign. Nobody does big advertising to tell you to put old cardboard on garden paths. Something like that doesn't sell. But it works. So, if you want fewer weeds this year, don't start with the question of which product you should buy. Start with these 5 rules. First, stop turning over the soil every spring. Second, keep soil covered always. Third, use cover crops like winter rye or buckwheat. Fourth, lure weeds out early and remove them before you plant. Fifth, lay cardboard on paths and empty spots before the season explodes. This is not one single trick. It's a network. Every method reinforces the other. Less soil disturbance means fewer germinating seeds. More mulch means less light. Cover crops take up space. Dense planting closes the gaps. Cardboard simply switches entire areas dark. And suddenly, weeds are no longer your weekly fight, but a problem that gets fewer and fewer chances. Maybe that's why old gardening cultures often had cleaner beds than modern gardeners with full garage shelves. Not because they had more, but because they did less wrong. And if tomorrow you take a piece of cardboard from your garage, wet it, lay it on your garden path, and cover it with mulch, something interesting happens. You buy nothing, you spray nothing, you fight nothing, you simply turn off the light.